Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Biggening Corporation. We are on our 36th episode, and today we are going to continue on with where we left off on Thursday last week. This will be all about the player role center, trying to get that finished up and across. Mostly we're just trying to focus on the core components, the activities, and the lists on the role center in a small bit of just kind of happy about it news and wanting to share. The official GitHub engine for identifying code released just before I started streaming, and in here is the change to add Microsoft AL code language. So fingers crossed we will start seeing that soon in production when we check code into GitHub. So here's hoping. And it'll be funny to see this years from now and go, wait, that wasn't always the case? It was not. Okay, so where we left off, we were looking at the role center for our beginning player and how that's going to structure out. And we had doodled up our notes about what that would look like. And I didn't put this together into any sort of structured form like a GitHub project or a Trello board or anything of that nature because, well, this is a pretty temporary list. Hopefully we're going to be mostly done with that this episode. Maybe next. We'll see. Because I did not outline in this all the things that are going to go up here in the navigation areas for the player. So we'll need to fix that up and think about that a little bit, but that's fine. Where we left off last time was we didn't have the underlying information that we needed. One of the pieces that we were going to show is giving the player heads up about bots that are erroring or idling over the past 30 days. We didn't have the underlying information for that because all we had in the dispatcher was just logging the description. We did not log what actually happened. So we ran out of a little bit of time here, but we had our final function call where we had the dispatch result coming into the log activity, and we need to do one last step, which I did not add last time. Activity type equals dispatch result action type, I believe. I called them two different things. That's exciting. Okay. Well, that's alright for now. Alright. So, in our bot activity log, we will now be able to do some calculation and filtering on whether or not bots have been idling or erroring out, or if they're working as intended. Cool. Okay. Well, that's good. Well, let's take these one by one pretty right through the start here. We are going to be still updating mostly the player queue table, which let's close everything up a little bit. There we go. We were going to do wealth balance, and then we were going to have some of the bot info, some of the delayed info. We also need to have some location information, but that'll be a list, season standings coming from a list. So we're going to be creating some new list parts today. Alright, so wealth balance is a little bit tricky of a field, because in all honesty, this should be a flow field to look at the player's GL account balance based on the based on the game setup, because here in our game setup we're going to expand this, and like I said, I'll probably do that off stream, but we should have a wealth account here, and we don't. But we need to have a flow field based on that value, and that's going to be a little tricky to do. It's hard to do a flow field based on another field that isn't on the table we're on. So the way we're going to have to handle that is we are going to have to, and let's do this in the 200 series, let's do a GL account filter. And this will be a code 20, sure, why not? Caption GL account filter. It's technically our wealth account filter, but that's fine. So field class on this is equal to a flow filter. And this we will set on the page when we are going to calculate the value. And that way we can pull from a game setup account. And that'll work. And now we can just do wealth. And this will be a decimal that is a caption wealth. And that is current wealth for reference. Okay, showing the balance. Yep. So this is also going to be a field class, but this will be a flow field, and we will have a calc formula. Now, this one's a little bit trickier. Let's see, how can we do this? Because I'm realizing as I'm typing for our GL account, we have a chart of accounts. I don't think we can flow field this. That's exciting. Because this net wealth account that we don't have is a totaling account, and therefore this already is a flow field. And if you didn't know, you can't do a flow field to another flow field. That doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. So if we drill down on this, we can see, if we look at the filters here, that this filter list by is being pre-filled in based on the totaling value. So the chart of accounts, and therefore the GL accounts, we can't get a balance to show up inside of another field. So that means that we cannot use a flow field at the activity, the queue table level. We potentially could do some creative things, like we could do a totaling filter. This GL account filter, we could say ... 2999 29.99, just like the totaling value on the GL account, and then do the flow filter calc formula in here on this. We could do that, but it's just as many steps for us to put all of that logic into a flow field on a flow field kind of situation as it would be to calculate the value ourselves. So what we are going to do is, instead, since it happens, you start down a path and you go, wait, you can't go down this path. We're going to delete this flow filter, skip this altogether, and we are going to make this a calculated field that it will be a normal. Even though technically this will contain like player data, it's not really actually personally identifiable information, so system metadata it is. Great, okay. So we're going to leave that as a decimal that needs to be populated. That's fine. Alright, then we'll do a separate chart part episode on trend info. Then we're going to do lists in a moment, and then we've got some queues here to show erroring bots and idling bots. Now, the trick of this is that we don't know. In our case, the bot might have idled for 1 day out of the past 30, right? that might not be today. Like maybe 2-3 hours ago, which was a couple weeks in game time, a couple of weeks ago, there was a backup in the receiving process for some of the logistics bots, and one of the sales bots had to idle out because there was nothing going on. So if it was idle 2 weeks ago but has been fine ever since, do we care? I think so. I think that makes sense. So what we'll do is we're going to count all of the bots that any time in the preceding 30 days have been idle. And we will do the same logic around erroring. And that way the player can kind of keep an eye on it, even if they aren't able to log in literally every 15 minutes and watch it, which I think is a pretty unrealistic thing. They should be able to see kind of this trending up and down. Just based on eyeballing and keeping an eye on it. So that means that those are more calculated logical things anyways. So we have some more calculated values that we're going to populate on here. And let's do this, and that's going to be an integer because they'll never have partial bots. Idling bots. Okay. Yeehaw. Alright, and we will do the same thing for erroring bots. So right now these are just empty fields that will always show 0. Nothing exciting about them just yet. Now, let's see, delayed shipments, delayed receipts. A delayed, well, I guess that would be the first step, is define what do we mean delayed. When a sales bot creates an order, in the sequence of events, let's take a look at our dispatcher for the exact workflow. In the sequence of events, when a sales bot creates an order, that sales bot runs after the logistics bots. All of the logistics is happening. So theoretically, you place an order today's game date, it's not going to get shipped until the very next day in the game flow of things. And that means that we will always have our orders trailing by 1 day if the logistics bots are keeping up. If a shipment goes 2 days, then it's delayed. Okay, that's easy enough logic. And for simplicity's sake, our sales bots, when they're creating these orders, I think they're filling in the shipment date. Let's go look at sales orders. Great. We've got lots out here. A frightening amount out here. Because I don't think we have anything posting these at the moment. Yeah. Yeehaw. Huh. Well, I might need to look into why we have so many orders. Okay. I'm afraid to look at a count of that. Okay, so in this case we have the shipment date is the same as the order date. Okay, yeah, so nice and easy. And the only time that these are currently changing from status open to released is if they have been shipped but not invoiced. So we have a nice easy filter to say that delayed is shipment date is greater than, is basically older than 1 day old, and status released. Okay, that seems reasonable. And I think we can pretty much mirror that logic over on the receipt side, that the purchase order gets created and we're not adding to the mix at this time vendor lead time or delivery variables or anything like that. So for the moment, we can assume that the receipt date over on the purchase side, if that's more than a couple days old, it's delayed. Okay, come on. All right, and just double checking, making sure that our expected receipt date is filled in. Is it? It is not, but we can. I'm just looking at the requested and promised receipt date, and nothing's filled in there, but I think we can rely on the document date since we're always using the same date. So, okay. If it's more than a couple of days old and it's not released, then alright. We can use the same logic, honestly, for both for now, and it'll be even clearer in case someday we do some different handling on shipment dates and receipt date logic. We can do a little bit of work with that. So what we need then is all in the header, thankfully. One of the things I get into a lot when we're developing role centers is often people would like the information to be filtered based on information that is summary information from the lines, and that gets real tricky. It's possible, but it's also less performance friendly. Whereas we can do a nice simple count with a pair of filtered pieces of info. That's way, way better for performance. So, since we're just doing a count of a single table and it's based off of a very simple date formula, we can create, first of all, a field delayed. Let's see, delayed date filter. Yeah, that sounds good. Delayed date filter. And this is going to be one of our flow filters. Now we can do a much, much simpler set of fields down here. 410 delayed shipments. And this will be an integer. I am forgetting again to use my snippets. One of the most challenging things I am grappling with all the time is remembering to use the dang shortcuts that they give us. Between the extensions, what's built in, all that sort of stuff. The habits are hard to break. Okay, so this is field class. And we'll do a calc for you. This is going to be a count of sales header where, first of all, our document type is equal to const. Wow, the IntelliSense on this is intense. That's amazing. Okay. Okay. Let's see. And then I think it's just comma for multiple clauses. Yep. Looks like. Interesting. I'm just looking at this last syntax going, what the heck? Huh. Okay. Well, anyways, let's see. And we also want status equals filter. Actually, no, constant is fine on this. And we'll do open Gosh, the IntelliSense on that is just impressing the heck out of me. Okay, and then we will do our document date is equal to field, and this will be our delayed ship filter. Huh, there we go. Okay, so now, nice and easy. Easy. I think I've spent too long on the internet. I want to make a lot of jokes about delayed things in Field 420. Let's see, purchase header. But the exact same logic. Purchase header, and the delayed date filter is something we're going to set on the page, and that'll help us calculate whether or not things are delayed. So there we go. Those are all the flow fields we need. Now, we also have non-flow field based things here: wealth, idling bots, error bots. We could, and it's not uncommon, we could build some code on the page that we're going to show in the role center to calculate these. I don't feel like that's good form. Generally speaking, in this case, I really want my procedures. I wonder what template I used that made all these triggers. I generally prefer to have procedures that do a lot of these calculations for us in the queue table itself, and then just call them from the page. I'm keen to follow the recommended accepted practice of page-related code is shied away from and used carefully. So I agree with that. And since the logic of populating these fields will be relevant, let's keep them here. Okay, so first of all, we need a routine that is not local. Calculate non-flow fields. Sure. Some function will do, and we are definitely going to need our section for this. For example, I know we're going to need game setup. And we will need a GL account. And we are going to need our bot instance table, I believe. I think we're actually going to need our bot activity log and our bot instance. Oh, exciting. Alright, yeah, we'll need both. Okay. No problem. So, bot instance record. Okay, so always we'll do a get on our game setup. However, our game setup at the moment does not have a wealth GL account field, so we need to fix that. We've got a variety of different accounts, but oddly enough, cash is the only one for that, and that's not accurate. We need let's scrunch to the end here, because why not? Field 70 wealth account, because we should not hard code things. I get used to different workflows in different environments, and I'm used to doing control arrows to move around my code all over the place, but when I stream I have the screen showing the control key combos and everything, and my screen fills up real quick when I do that here. Oh man. Okay, so our wealth account, we don't need this direct posting limitation. That's fine, just any GL account is acceptable. Cool, and we need that on Our general ledger. Yep, sounds good. Use the snippets. All right, wealth account. Well, there. So now we've got that. Okay. So if GL account get our game setup.wealth account, we will get an error if someone has not filled this in, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, bouncing back and forth between Angular. I literally was looking at this going, if bracket, what's the problem? Wowzers. Okie doke. So here we are going to do GL account.calcFields balance. We're not setting any date filters on that, so that just gets us the current balance. Nice and simple. So now we can set the wealth field equal GL account.balance. If we don't get for some reason, then we can just set that to 0. Clear it. Sounds good. Alright, now we need a count of all the bots that have had any errors in the prior 30 days. Let's see, what's the most efficient way to do this? Probably the tippity-top most efficient way to do this would be to build a query and filter the query on the activity log for the past 30 days of idle and instant, idle or error, and then just get a unique count of the bot instances from that. I've not done that. I haven't spent enough time with queries, so let's add a to-do in a follow-up episode, because I am not going to try to learn queries right now. This should probably be replaced by query, and the reason for that, if anyone's curious as to why I'm going to do it one way and not do it this other way, query objects will get all of the data directly from SQL and do everything it needs to do directly from SQL without caching a lot of the info in the service tier, and it will also get all the info it needs all in one go, versus the code that I'm about to do, which will do a variety of get calls. I'm going to make it as efficient as I can, but whenever possible, when we're doing loops, we need to think about we're looping and getting a couple layers deep. Probably should make it a query, huh? Another episode. So what we are going to do is instead we will do a loopity-loop instance, and all we need to do is bot activity log. Oh, hey. Snippets leaving me a multi-key select. I'm typing in 2 different places. Bot activity log dot reset. Clear that out. Bot activity log set range on the bot instance to be our bot instance. I think it's just instance ID, right? Yep, that makes sense. Perfect. And then what we're going to do is for this activity log, we will set range on the activity type to activity. Okay, bot act log activity type. We want to do idle first, and before we dive into the loop, if we set idling bots to 0 and we set error bots to 0, we can simply do we had to do a date filter. Almost forgot. Almost forgot the date filter. It would have been all of our bots. There we go. Okay, so now we can do this little charming logic. If bot activity log dot is empty, and we're going to reverse use that, not. If we're not is empty, then idling bots equals idling bots plus 1. Okay, and then we will do the same logic, because if a bot idles for 3 days and then runs into an error, I would count that as both. That's perfectly acceptable. Okay. Delightful. Alright. Cool. That works. And let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. Flow field, 3 non-flow fields. Perfect. Okay. Now, I haven't talked about it a little bit here, but all of these flow field based ones here, this is automatically going to drill us down to the sales header, because flow fields come with a lot of perks. They come with perks like being able to support drill downs, and on the queue group style drill down, it will pop open the thing automatically. Beautiful. We have created non flow field queue table type fields here. It won't know what to do with these. So we have to provide our own drill down logic. And that could live on the page, but again, I'm lukewarm on where I want the info to live. I would be pretty okay with the flow field drill down, the non-flow field drill downs, to be here on the table level, so that way we can make use of it regardless of where we're pulling this in. We do have to do a drill down separate for each of these. Let's see, so drill down wealth. Honestly, I don't know that a drill down on the wealth is that big of a deal. Don't personally think it matters that much, but it's nice to have all of the things behave in the same way. So what I would do is I would do a GL account record GL, and rather than drop the person at the card for this GL account, which we could do, I would rather have them go to the chart of accounts with that record filtered. Hello? Did I ask too much of you, my poor machine? It's possible. I have approximately 400 tabs open in various Chrome instances, probably. So if we take, for example, this wealth card, it would be weird to me to land on this card when we drill down on wealth. I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. So my personal take would be to do the drill down to be, it would make a whole lot of sense with how small the chart is everything up to and including the wealth, so that way we can see. I like that. Let's do it. So chart chart of account, sure. So GL, oh, hey, guess who needs game setup again? This guy. Alright, so what we will do is we'll do game setup get. Again, I'm not field validating whether it's filled in. Things will get weird if that is not filled in on game setup, and I'm okay with that. GL account set filter on number and game setup wealth. So everything up to and including the wealth account. Sounds good. Chart of accounts, set the table view to be what we just specified on this record. And last but not least, run. Cool. Alright, so that gives us a nice drill down that the player, when they click on wealth, will get their chart of accounts for the relevant bits. Now the bots, a little weirder because we're actually wanting to present a bot list. And we're wanting to present the bot list based off of information in a separate table off of this logic. We can do that in a couple of different ways. Most of the time the player is going to be looking at the info and only sometimes drilling down on the info, so I'm okay with it not being the highest possible performance on the drill down. So let's be okay with that. Let's accept some good instead of great. Drill down idling. For clarity. Okay, so in this case we are going to steal this code. Code copy, always exciting. Whenever you're copying code, it's probably time to make it a function, but that's alright, we'll let it go for now. Let's see here. So what we're not going to increase the count of idling bots on drill down. That doesn't matter, it's not relevant. But what we will do is, if there are any idling bots that are idling records for this particular bot, we will bot instance dot mark true, and we have an if statement leading into passing a boolean, so that is silly. We can simply do that. Okay, if you have not used mark before, it can be your friend. It is a way of creating an ad hoc filter in a fashion. So what we're going to do is we'll say mark true, and then when we're all set and done doing that loop, we can take our bot instance table and we can set marked only true. Now this table, if we iterate through this table, it will only show those ones that we just flagged. There are some good and bad options to this I've learned over time. If we do this and then we drill down to a card, the moving back and forth does not work correctly. And as a matter of fact, let's add this to a page now to show what's going on, because this is a very common pattern in classic environments to be able to mark records and then show them in a list. So let's do this and we'll publish it and take a look at what the limitation here I'm talking about is. So bot list page. Cool. And now we will take the bot list dot set table view to the bot instance table that we just specified, and we'll bot list dot run that. Okay, cool. So now we haven't added any of all this new stuff to our activities panel. So just real quick and simple, we're going to add the idling bots, because there's where we've got our drill down. So on this, we need to, instead of doing a drill down page ID, we need to supply our own drill down trigger, and that can refer to our table procedure, drill down idling bots. Nice and simple. But we also have on here, we have this little procedure, calculate queue field values. This can call the underlying table version of that, which is the calculate on FlowFields. There we go. So on after get record, we will calculate that. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah. One thing you'll notice, there is nothing in this function call that says modify, and that works. We can set a whole bunch of values on a field and then display it on the UI and never call modify. Bizarre, right? Alright, so let's publish and take a look at the weird drill down behavior I'm talking about, because I've had to code around this for a couple of customers lately, as recently as last week. Oh no, administrators making changes to the system. No. To be fair, when multiple devs are working in the same instance and I get this message, oh, hate it. Hate it a lot. So, it's fair. I imagine it's incredibly frustrating and annoying for users. Okay, so there we go. Fantastic. See if it's done building the metadata or if it wants to blow up. It has not finished building the metadata. We get the wrong role center. Okay, so now idling bots is currently 0. Well, that makes sense. We just introduced idle as an activity state. Okay, so let's go look at our bot list for a sec. Okay, so most of these should be idling along. So if we do game setup and we tick the game day up, one of the things I think it would be really helpful for us to see is bot list the last activity status. So let's do that while we're waiting for that to tick along. And that can just be a little flow field on our bot instance table. Sounds good. Oy. And that's going to be our enum BCS bot result type. Super fine. Our hint caption is still just last activity time. And field class equals flow field. And calc formula equals max of bot activity log, where bot instance equals field instance ID. And oh, I'm wanting the most recent record from the bot activity log and then use a value from that, but you can't use max that way. It blah. Oh, that sucks. Okay, we can't flow field this one. So the problem that I'm running into is that I need a maximum by posting date, but I need to show the value of a different field, the result type, based on the posting date. So we cannot do a flow field based on that. I'll just keep running into a lot of those this episode. I might title it the flow fields that wouldn't. Anytime you make changes to an object and you say, for example, I had saved this and I go, oh crud, that completely is all wrong. If you haven't checked that into GitHub, you can just discard those changes. Whip. There we go. Now I made no changes to this object. Super handy. Anyways, whip. So we do not have any idling bots. That seems unlikely. to be perfectly frank. We haven't added the activity type to the log. Dun, dun, dun. Alright, so I thought we had the activity log up here in our bot section, but I guess we have it in the player company. An interesting choice. Great. It's fine. So we have this activity type. We need to add that on here. Control comma hello settings. Okay, so there's that. Occasionally the build speed's a little sluggish. I'm going to do some tuning up of my machine here and see if I can help with that. Okay, so yeah. Alright. We don't have any activity types at all so far in this company. I bet you we have a job queue failure. Yep, we do. That does not surprise me. Pretty much whenever we publish, it's a pretty high possibility that we are going to break our job queue. So, hey, there's an idle. Okay, so bot instance 12 should have reported in as an idle bot now. So let's not a one. Okay. Let's see if we can figure out what's the sitch. Alright, so we have our calculate function, and we are iterating through all of our bots. We are looking for... Oh! Hey! I spotted it right away. I'll give you a few seconds. Okay. Yeah. We are looking for all the idle bots 30 days ago. Precisely. Not in the past 30 days. So, that won't help us. There we go. We want everything. No, almost did that exactly backwards. 30 days through today. There we go. So and the current logic of things, we were specifically only looking for bots who are idle 30 game days ago. But if they've been busy since then, well, no, they don't count. There we go. One idling bot. Perfect. However, one idling bot does not give us a lot of testing to go off of. So let's go look at our activity log and see if we can come up with some scenario here where we can potentially have a couple of idling bots instead. So it looks like at the moment sales is the only one that's reporting in that it is idled. And as a matter of fact, it looks like we have got some serious significant bugs in purchasing, research, and marketing, since we don't have any description or activity. Not so good. So in that regard, we are going to go look at our bot list and for the moment just add another sales bot because we know that works. So new buy bot, sales. We don't have any requirement but money, and we're going to assign that to our compatible Juliet here because we know that that is going to idle. And let's see here. If we do a new buy bot sales, I just would like to have 3 idling bots. Great. Okay. So now, when I'm looking at this page, we have this sales bot, a couple of purchasing bots, and then a couple of sales bots. And I don't think it kept the assignment code, so I need to fix that. Let's just assign the last one, just to really fiddle with some of our challenges here on the drill down side of things. We'll tick our game day along and then go back to our bot activities. Descending. Alright, and within a moment or so we should have some more idling sales action. While we have that, real quick, what the heck happened to my other bots? Probably something simple. Dispatcher, what you doing, son? We get result, and we log the activity. Okay. Oh. Copy and paste. Copy and paste. This is why you try to avoid doing copy and paste coding, because calling bot sales.getResult for that bot purchase is not going to help us. There we go. That makes a little more sense. One of the things that you'll notice if you've dug around in the GitHub for this project at all is I'm just checking these changes in per episode. That's an example of a change for this with just fixing this typo. I would put in a source control message just for that and just stage that one change by itself, because that is blatantly, obviously a bug fix of that one issue. So, something to think about. Yep. Metadata can't be found. It's still publishing. Holy moly. Well. Not getting quite as far in this episode as I would have liked to have gotten. I did not realize how many non-FlowField role center pages we were going to have. Okay, so 12, 15, and 16, they're all idling. And this one for a different reason. Perfect. Okay, cool. We have 3 idling bots. Alright, nice. Now, I don't actually have a bot card. I can't show the bug. So, the charming bug that you can run into, or design flaw, however you want to think of it, if I had a bot card and I drill down on this first TA123, when I hit the next arrow to go to the next bot, the marked does not carry through from the list to the page. You will get to the purchase bot, you will hit next, go to the next purchase bot, hit next, go to this sales bot. So there are some definite limitations, but they don't come up if you only have a list. Because there is no card, we're okay. So we can kind of skip around that bug for now, but it's an interesting little design issue. Not sure it's even a bug, but something to think about. Okie doke. So, but on the bright side, hey, our drill down worked. We have the correct calculation, and we could drill down to see our bot list of errors. Fantastic. Alright, cool. So, player queue table, we will copy and paste this function and replace it with idling. I don't super like that idea, so let's see. Our bot activity type is an enum, so let's parameterize this. Drill down bots, which status, which is an enum BCS bot result type. Okay, because that to me makes a little more sense. We can use this function twice rather than copy paste anything. Done. And now we'll get a nice error on our activity page. Perfectly reasonable, logical. And I don't know, can we pass an enum param without having declared something that is of that type? Nope. Okay. Var and hooray for enums. If this was an option field, this would be more annoying, but we don't have to worry about that. Yay. This is now just called drill down bots, and we pass it the which type of idle. Cool. And now we can do the same logic around erroring. Error bots bot errors. Not the best. we have bot errors. That is the actual errors in the error log, and then separately we have error bots, the bots that are currently experiencing an erroring situation. So let's change the name on that because that's a little bit non-optimal naming. Alright, there we go. I mean, it's not the best, but it's better. Okay, and error. Perfect. Publish. And now with the get result actually calling the correct get result for the correct code unit, then we can do things. Cool. At some point I will possibly look at doing an episode where we turn these code units and put them behind an interface, because that might be interesting just to know how to do. Okay, erroring bots, none. That seems suspicious, but it could be. Descending. Okay, we haven't ticked since we fixed our situation on the response side, so we'll tick that. Okay, alright, fantastic. So, wow, we did not get through this anywhere near as quickly as I thought we would. That is unfortunate. Alright, well that's going to be a little hard to take. Sometimes you think you can FlowField something and thus it'll only take 5 minutes, and you can't, and so it'll take 45 minutes. That is definitely one of the harder areas of developing in the BC, is correctly estimating the amount of time that something is going to take. Especially when you think you can solve it one way and it doesn't hold up to scrutiny. So, okay, well, I'm a little worried that didn't tick up. Suspicious. That's how. I may even, given how stuck the system becomes when this goes into an error state, that might be something that gets added to our role center as an easy health check, because that would be a real problem if something got stuck. Hey, look at that. Idle, idle, idle. Activity, activity. Nice. Alright. No errors, though. So, okay. We'll have to think about that. Alright, well, I guess we've made progress towards having a functional role center for our player, but we still definitely do not, as of yet, have a functional role center. So I guess we'll go with what we were joking about calling the episode of the FlowFields that weren't. Because once you can't do it the FlowField way, everything takes about 5 to 15 times longer. And that's important to know. So, alright, well, thank you for watching, everyone, and hopefully we'll be making our last little bit of progress on things tomorrow. I think I might even start off tomorrow's episode more focused on making all the different list components that we are going to need on the home role center, so that way when we start putting everything together, it just comes together a little bit more quickly. So, thank you for watching, everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.